Online detectives claim right now the internet is absolutely exploding. Old emails tied to Jeffrey Epstein are resurfacing, and once again, familiar celebrity names are being dragged back into the conversation. One of those names? Ellen DeGeneres. Emails reference secret gatherings and mysterious locations tied to Epstein's circle. Authorities have never confirmed many of these rumors, but that hasn't stopped social media from connecting that's at lightning speed. And here's where things get interesting. Around the time political figures started talking about releasing Epstein-related files, Ellen quietly left the United States and spent over a year living in the English countryside. Of course, celebrities relocate all the time, but critics are asking a very pointed question. Was the timing just coincidence, or something more?
Don't want you guys coming to my house. I will tell you over the phone the truth so you guys save the trip, and I will tell you the truth.
According to rumors spreading across social media, some of the locations linked to Epstein allegedly contained lockers filled with disturbing materials and private records. Now, authorities have never officially confirmed these claims, but the secrecy surrounding them has only fueled even more speculation online. And with shocking allegations, like the bizarre cannibalism rumors, circulating again, it's no surprise that Ellen DeGeneres' name is suddenly being dragged back into the conversation. Some online reports are even claiming that Ellen might be trying to avoid legal trouble, with speculation that she could be preparing to stay overseas. Critics quickly pointed out something interesting. When political pressure started building around the potential release of Epstein-related files, Ellen reportedly left the United States and spent more than a year living quietly in the English countryside. Later, she and her wife, Portia de Rossi, were said to have purchased a massive property abroad before eventually returning to America. Now, to be fair, celebrities relocate all the time. There's nothing unusual about that. But for many people watching this story unfold, the timing raised a big question. Why leave right when talk of exposing powerful figures was heating up?
So, Mr. President, we are looking at an image of a portrait that looks to be you, Mr. President, in this blue dress. Can you describe this painting? And
he doesn't need to describe the painting. You just gave him a picture. What's your question?
My question is, are you familiar with this painting? Have you ever seen it in person?
I've never seen it in person.
In past public statements, as in 2017 speeches and interviews, you described Pizzagate as a baseless conspiracy theory, alleging you and others ran a child trafficking ring.
The speculation only grew louder because Epstein's network already had links reaching into the British royal family, most notably the scandal involving Prince Andrew. So when Ellen suddenly chose the UK as her temporary home, conspiracy-minded corners of the internet started buzzing. To them, the overlap looked suspicious.
Age would you want to get married, and how many kids would you want to have?
Like 17, so.
Would you rather have to be naked on stage? Answer Justin Bieber.
I have like little girl fans. I can't.
Imagine there was no laws. Imagine it wasn't like weird like that. Justin Bieber. I will squeeze your face.
No, I will. No.
If you had to date one of us, 5.
Who is it?
Then the internet did what the internet does best, dig up old clips. And suddenly, interviews featuring a very young Justin Bieber began circulating again. At the time, many viewers brushed those moments off as awkward celebrity humor. But watching them today, a lot of people say the vibe feels very different.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
Those resurfaced interviews sparked a bigger conversation. During Bieber's early rise to fame, Ellen's show was one of the biggest platforms giving him exposure. She publicly supported him and helped boost his career. But critics now argue that some moments from those appearances made the young star visibly uncomfortable, something viewers are only noticing years later.
Now, what time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really? That early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party.
Uh-huh.
It'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 2, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there.
Yeah. Then no, I mean the after party.
No, I know about them.
Another detail fueling the speculation is the powerful social circles Ellen has moved in for years. She lived in Montecito, California, one of the wealthiest and most exclusive neighborhoods in the world, home to figures like Oprah Winfrey and Prince Harry. Now, simply living near powerful people obviously isn't proof of wrongdoing. But Epstein's influence famously operated through elite networks and high-profile connections. So when the same names keep appearing across Hollywood, politics, and royal circles, curiosity quickly turns into suspicion online. To be clear, Ellen has never been charged with any crime connected to Epstein. But in the court of public opinion, even loose associations can ignite massive debate.
It took a greeting on the gridiron between former President George W. Bush and Ellen DeGeneres to bring it into sharp focus.
It may not seem like a big deal for a celebrity to attend a football game, but I never leave my house, so it is a big deal.
Ellen and her wife, Portia de Rossi, were invited to sit in the private box of Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Former President George W. Bush and his wife Laura were also there.
Another moment that sparked huge backlash happened in 2019. Fans were shocked when photos surfaced showing Ellen laughing and chatting with former President George W. Bush at a Dallas Cowboys game. For years, Ellen had been seen as a progressive voice in Hollywood, while Bush represented a very different political legacy. So when those images hit social media, the reaction was immediate and intense.
I want to talk about something that happened this weekend. I know it's Tuesday. Sometimes I like to ruminate on things all day Monday so that on Tuesday you hear about it. So this weekend I went to Dallas for the Cowboys game. And thanks. But during the game, they showed a shot of George and me laughing together. And so people were upset. They thought, why is a gay Hollywood liberal sitting next to a conservative Republican president? Didn't even notice I'm holding the brand new iPhone 11. But a lot of people were mad, and they did what people do when they're mad. They tweet, but here's one tweet that I loved. This person says, Ellen and George Bush together makes me have faith in America again. Exactly. Here's the thing. I'm friends with George Bush. In fact, I'm friends with a lot of people who don't share the same beliefs that I have. We're all different, and I think that we've forgotten that that's okay, that we're all different. For instance, I wish people wouldn't wear fur. I don't like it, but I'm friends with people who wear fur. And I'm friends with people who are furry, as a matter of fact. I have friends who should tweeze more. And but just because I don't agree with someone on everything doesn't mean that I'm not going to be friends with them. When I say be kind to one another, I don't mean only the people that think the same way that you do. I mean be kind to everyone. Doesn't matter.
Ellen later defended the moment, saying friendship shouldn't depend on political beliefs. Some viewers applauded the message. Others felt deeply disappointed. Either way, the moment became another piece in a growing puzzle critics point to when discussing Ellen's connections in powerful circles.
Yeah, I mean, you're not the biggest guy in the world, but you're not a pussy by any means. What was so bad about Ellen?
It was psychological. It was like this thing where, we go into the writer's room, we get to work at 9 a.m., and then we go right into her office. She had this big office, right. And we'd sit around, there was like overstuffed chairs and like leather couches. Very cool. We sit there and drink cappuccino, and it was like a loving environment until, I remember one time I made a joke about Justin Bieber, and she goes, I love Justin Bieber. And it was like, oh, so nobody else can have a different feeling about Justin Bieber because you like him? And then she iced me. And then every joke I would tell for 10 days, she would literally not react and look away and say, all right, who's got something else?
Wow.
And so it was this thing where she would push you out of the circle and then pull you back into and when she pulled you back into the circle, oh my God, hand on the leg, laughing at what you were saying. And so for me, it wasn't that big a deal. Right. But for other people that, had mommy and daddy issues, and she, when you're working 14-hour days and she's the boss, it becomes a very powerful dynamic. That person's approval starts to meet, especially when people are getting fired constantly.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just being ostracized from the circle. It was genuine fear for your job. And so everybody felt that fear.
Fast forward to late 2024. Ellen and her wife quietly left the United States and relocated to the United Kingdom. By that point, her long-running talk show had already ended, and she was largely staying out of the spotlight. But in 2025, new stories about her workplace behavior started resurfacing, bringing her name back into the headlines once again.
I just finished testifying in front of the House Oversight Committee. I did it for two reasons. First, I love my country, including our Constitution. And America was built on the idea that no person is above the law, even presidents, especially presidents, and that we should all live under the same set of rules. This kind of democracy requires every person to play their part. And I hope that by being there today, we can bring ourselves just a little further away from the brink and back to being a country where we can disagree civilly and we can search for truth and justice, and that it outweighs the partisan urge to score points and create space.
Now, let's be clear about something important. Being friends with a former president isn't a crime. Moving overseas isn't a crime. And workplace complaints aren't the same as criminal charges. Ellen has not been charged in connection with Epstein. But in today's media climate, perception can spread faster than facts. Old interviews, old photos, old friendships. People are re-examining everything.
In particular, very, very close to Jeffrey Epstein. She actually wrote a letter to Bill Clinton in 1995 that he should meet Jeffrey Epstein and talk to him about currency stabilization. So this is something that's been going on for a long time, and he's been very involved with this particular family, which it goes without saying has extremely deep ties to the state of Israel for an extremely long period of his career.
She approached me and she said that her friend was here. He was the king of America, and he was here with his friend Bill Clinton, and he owned his own island in the Caribbean, and his friend owned Victoria's Secret, and would I like to meet him, because it would be good obviously for my modeling career. So I went to the restaurant where they were, and it was Epstein, Clinton, Kevin Spacey, and about 3 or 4 other people, and it was a small group, and they all stood up while they were having dinner and shook my hand. And it was, and Bill Clinton actually held onto my hand for a very long time. It was very weird. And then they also invited me to actually go watch Clinton's speech. I was like, I obviously wanted to go watch the speech, and I did. And what I did notice was Kevin Spacey was filming all the students in the hall. And then after the speech, we went back to the hotel, and then they looked at my modeling portfolio. And the girls were sitting there, and Bill Clinton walked past and witnessed the whole modeling casting. And then Epstein looked at my modeling portfolio and said he thought I'd be perfect for Victoria's Secret, and he wanted to bring me over. And then, after that, his office started phoning, and Leslie Groff arranged to get me a visa and to get me to New York, and I was there within 3 weeks. But what I've started to realize is it was more like a syndicate, a club, because the properties, they were all very different in style. It was almost like they didn't all belong to one person. There's a lot more going on there.
Meanwhile, attention has shifted toward newly released Epstein documents involving other powerful figures, particularly former President Bill Clinton. Photos allegedly showing Clinton in a pool with unidentified women quickly went viral, triggering another massive wave of speculation online.
So do you recall the details of this photo, or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this taken, I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture. But anyway, this picture was taken in Brunei. And we flew one night on a trip to Asia, the last very long leg.
You said we, is it, who is that including?
Well, my whole team that was working
Thank you.
on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and Miss Maxwell. But anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei, It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one in the Sultan of Brunei.
According to testimony, those images were reportedly taken during a trip to Brunei, where Clinton says he was attending humanitarian events connected to his foundation.
Just for the record, there's another picture that also shows this as part of a larger pool area. Do you all have that so that he can refresh his recollection with respect to that?
You should have it. It's quite enlightening. If you watch this,
Yes, it's noted.
It'll
Yes.
give you a different feel.
Thank you.
Okay.
We don't have it with us right now.
Okay,
We do
thanks. I just
have
wanted
it
to
as
make sure he knew the
And so were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub. I didn't forgotten that there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about.
Well,
He's asking in the pool
It appears
area.
this photo, there's a girl over here. Is there someone?
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
But he's also asking in the pool area whether other
Yes,
individuals.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so you don't know?
No, and then there were other people in the pool.
Okay, so do you remember were they under 18? Would you
No.
know? No.
Were they part of your traveling party, he's asking you?
Yes, they were, I think. I think everybody there was part of our party. It was late at night or late-ish, and I also believe that there was a Secret Service agent there at the other end of the pool.
Okay, and was this in public?
No, it was a hotel room, and the Sultan wanted us to stay there, and the water, this big pool, was on the same floor that there were several suites, so we went out, I swam around, I sat in the hot tub for 5 minutes, or whatever it was, and I got up and went to bed.
And then I have to ask this, did you engage in these activities
No.
with this person? Okay, thank you.
And that ends this.
Clinton acknowledged that he flew on Epstein's private plane several times in the early 2000s. However, he insists those trips were strictly related to charitable work and says he cut ties with Epstein long before Epstein's crimes became public.
Or they thought she might even be president, right? And then after, she lost to Trump in 2016, it dried up essentially. But also, in addition to the other philanthropies, you have the Clinton Global Initiative, which was allegedly Epstein's idea. According to his defense lawyers, he was part of the core team that developed the concept for the Clinton Global Initiative, which is kind of like a Clinton brokered Davos, World Economic Forum style meeting. And, they passed money around to, Ghislaine Maxwell's Terramar, for example, among other things. And so, Epstein was obviously very sought out in the not-profit world, arguably because he was very good at tax shelters. And a lot of these billionaires want to, get tax write-offs or not have to pay money in tax. And so, setting up these philanthropies the right way when Epstein's background, going back to his time at Bear Stearns, was in tax evasion, obviously I think that points to why they were so interested in having him be involved in setting up their nonprofits. And there's also the fact that
What makes this story even more explosive is that multiple major political figures, including both Clinton's and Donald Trump, appear somewhere in the Epstein files. None of them have been formally charged in connection with Epstein's crimes, but their names appearing in documents has kept the controversy burning online.
I have
There
another.
are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that
I'm
can
done
occur?
with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's
So
sake.
I would like to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was.
It doesn't
Excuse
matter.
me.
We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah,
So
well.
I would like to take a break at this moment.
Yeah,
and I'd like to have
I'm
a
done.
conversation.
At the same time, critics and investigators point to testimony from alleged victims who describe deeply disturbing experiences connected to Epstein's network. For many people, those stories are the most important part of the entire investigation.
What day, night will be the wildest party on your island? Now, Musk has addressed those allegations directly on X. He wrote, "No one pushed harder than me to have the Epstein files released, and I'm glad that has finally happened. I had very little correspondence with Epstein, and declined repeated invitations to go to his island or fly on his Lolita Express, but was well aware that some email correspondence with him could be misinterpreted and used by detractors to smear my name. I don't care about that, but what I do care about is that we at least attempt to prosecute those who committed serious crimes with Epstein, especially regarding heinous exploitation of underage girls. So this is the fullest picture we have, but only so far.
And that's where a larger pattern keeps emerging in this saga. Powerful figures often call for transparency until their own names appear in the conversation. Then suddenly the debate shifts to context, timing, and interpretation. Files disappear. Documents get redacted. Questions multiply.
Bryant was a first-year university student and part-time model when she was ensnared by Epstein in Cape Town.
I just turned 20 and it just seemed like my dreams were all coming true. Because, our family was struggling financially and I just really wanted to try and make a difference for my family. And I was dreaming of doing something like modeling.
Her first trip out of South Africa was to New York, where she says she abruptly found herself on the way to the Caribbean, sat next to him on his private jet to Epstein Island with the women he used to recruit her.
Basically, as the plane took off, he started forcefully touching me in between my legs. And I just freaked out and I suddenly realized, oh my God, my family aren't going to see me again. These people might kill me. I got such a fright. It was such a huge changing thing for me. And I suddenly realized I had to just be nice and be friendly because I realized that I was in great danger.
And he's assaulting you and the other women
and
there.
They were laughing. Yeah, they saw and they just laughed. So I was really, really petrified. And it really changed me, the whole thing, going through this. And I just didn't know what to do, and I just really thought that I was going to die.
Juliet wasn't the only victim he lured out of Cape Town.
When you hear that response from the Justice Department, do you believe that's sufficient?
Thanks so much for having me, Caitlin. And the answer is no, it's not. They are not responding to the law, and at this point, I think it appears clearer and clearer every day that they are knowingly violating and willfully violating the law that we passed, that Donald Trump signed into law, requiring them to turn over every responsive document. And I want to be clear, just to clarify two things that I think you alluded to. One, Donald Trump is accused of assaulting a child in those memos that you mentioned. Two, that it's not just a few dozen documents that are not being turned over. Fully half of the documents that we're aware of, some 3 million documents, have not been turned over by the DOJ. They claim they fully responded, and yet we've found over and over again, and I can tell you that oversight Democratic staff have confirmed what you have found, that these documents are missing. They were not turned over, even though they were very clearly responsive to the questions that we asked. And this appears to be part of a very broad cover-up. And you may remember back to last May, when Pam Bondi reportedly told Donald Trump he was in the Epstein files. After that, there were a lot of reports that DOJ attorneys were being asked to go redact documents, to hide documents, to remove documents from the files that had Donald Trump's name. So we're definitely continuing to look at this, but it appears that the DOJ is willfully violating the law.
At this point, the Epstein story continues to expand with every new document release. Some connections remain unproven. Others raise serious questions that investigators are still trying to answer. One thing is certain, public trust is fading fast and people want answers. So now the big question is, what do you think is really going on here? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.